Oh, I didn't see you there. Welcome to the O Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, CW, and today we're talking about gimmick matches and the wrestlers who love them. I love a good gimmick match. Who doesn't? And I love a good pro wrestler. Who doesn't? When those two things collide, they make magic. What do I mean by that? Well, think of The Undertaker. He is a wrestler who is obviously the GOAT, but also there's something with that gimmick that came with so many amazing perks. One of them is Undertaker had his own gimmick matches. Undertaker, the character itself, spawned some crazy gimmick matches. One in particular being the Inferno match, him versus Kane. That is very much a Kane and Undertaker match. I believe he had a couple more with other people, but that is an Undertaker match. There was never an Inferno match without Kane or Undertaker in it. And casket matches. The Undertaker had literally innovated a casket match. Now, was it super interesting? No, you just had to roll some dude into a casket and then close the casket for it to be done. But yeah, he had his own types of matches. There was a Buried Alive match, I believe. I think that was what it was called, where he had to literally bury someone in a grave up by the Titantron. Man, The Undertaker had a lot of gimmick matches. But I think we need more wrestlers, more professional athletes in the professional wrestling space who have specific matches that they are really, really good at. So good, in fact, that if you put them in that match, you know that they're going to win, kind of thing, where they're specializing, basically. Certain people go into different fields of work and they specialize in something very specific. Doctors, right? If a doctor had a gimmick match, it would be something like a hospital match or something, right? Or a lumberjack would be a lumberjack match. No, that's not what would happen. But you see where I'm going with this. More wrestlers, more professional wrestlers need to specialize in matches, whether that be the New Day with maybe like a trios type thing. If Biggie ever comes back, I have my prayer hands coming. Hope that man's neck gets better. And I don't know if I want him to compete, but if he wants to compete, I hope he's able to. Honestly, I'd rather him just be healthy and chill. The man is a national treasure. So yeah, whether I'm all about going off topic, whether it's like the New Day doing a trios match of some sort, like the Undertaker in his casket match, Dolph Ziggler in a, I don't know, what would Dolph Ziggler's gimmick match be? What would he specialize in? Something like selling. It would be like how well can you sell the stunner? Or how well can you sell someone's move? That's what his gimmick match would be. But there's definitely been wrestlers who've had sort of gimmick-esque matches. Chris Masters, for one, had the Master Lock Challenge, which wasn't technically a match, but it was like almost a test of strength type deal. It was a segment in a show where he would, if you've never heard of Chris Masters, he was just like an Adonis type wrestler where he would do pose downs and then he would choke people out with a full Nelson. So his Master Lock Challenge, if you've never seen it, he would put a chair in the middle of the ring and he would call down someone and he would say, "Come sit in this chair. I will put you in the Master Lock and you have to break out of the Master Lock before you pass out." And it was an open it was basically like the United States title open challenge. He just sat there with a mic and then someone would come down and they'd sit in the chair and he'd put the Master Lock on them and then just ring them around like a rag doll. And it was basically a way to get him over as having a very strong submission move. And if anyone actually broke the Master Lock, they would end up in a match or something like that. I don't think many people broke it. I can't remember. That'll be a theme in this podcast moving forward. Me not remembering things. I have a very old brain. It's not as attuned to wrestling, and I just hit record and we go. So it's like two buddies talking. You and me, we're friends. Remember? So I don't remember if anyone breaks the lock, but I remember that specific quote unquote match type. It's not a match. They didn't end up wrestling, but that's what I mean. Get more gimmicked matches attached to wrestlers. So there has been an influx in gimmicked pay-per-views over the past 10 years that has watered down a lot of these match types. And I think, again, the creative team that's there now wants to kind of roll that back. So maybe not having a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, maybe not doing an elimination pay-per-view where like 5 elimination chamber matches happen. Just kind of taking those gimmicks, those very specific highlighted match types, and just making them very special again. And I think having wrestlers who are very good at that, where you don't even want to wrestle them in that match, makes for some great storytelling. It also allows you to tell a story where maybe, let's say, we'll just keep using The Undertaker as an example. Maybe The Undertaker, he says, all right, I have the title. And someone, they hold a tournament. Again, I've said I'm a big fan of tournaments in wrestling. You hold a tournament. Whoever wins, they face The Undertaker for the title at whatever pay-per-view. Judgment Day, let's say. So at the the Raw or whatever before Judgment Day, Undertaker comes out and he says, I'm defending this title against Chris Masters at Judgment Day, my pay-per-view, and the match type will be a buried alive match. Now, if that happens, you know that Undertaker is really, 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 really good at burying people because he is an Undertaker, and that is kind of his whole deal. So you automatically know that Chris Masters is the underdog. Well, he was the underdog regardless because it's the Undertaker. Come on, but he's even more of an underdog. His stock has dropped significantly because now he's wrestling the Undertaker in the Undertaker's special match, his specific specialty match. So if you're a Chris Masters fan, you're rooting even harder for this guy to win. And every false count, or every time Chris Masters is about to throw Undertaker into the pit to bury him, is a pop, right? And also those false kickouts at like 2 or 3, they need to reduce those to up the how special they are. But having those gimmick matches attached to wrestlers, you can build some really interesting stories around them. It doesn't even have to be for a title, right? It could just be long form storytelling with that person. If KO had a specific gimmick match that he was really good at, or Sami Zayn or whatever, you can take this bloodline storyline where they're going after KO and work that match into it, right? So maybe Sami, quote unquote, keeps betraying KO in their friendship, because we know they're still friends. Not in any like the real world, but in the story of Bloodline versus KO, we know that Sami Zayn is still his friend. He's playing up to the Bloodline, but he will always be KO's friend. That's kind of the whole problem Roman has with Sami Zayn. That's written, right? So if KO was like, all right, fine, you really want this friendship to be over, we're going to wrestle a match, you and me, in my preferred match. And then you're like, well, KO's going to wreck him in his match. That's KO's gimmick match. It's a strap handle barroom fight. I don't know. What is KO's gimmick? He's a fighter. He's a brawler. I don't know. But it would up the ante. It would up the drama, and you would root for the underdog a little bit more. Or you'd root for the wrestler with the gimmick match because you want to see them wreck. What are your favorite gimmick matches, and what wrestler would you attach them to? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe on any podcast platform. Make sure you head over to our YouTube page and hit the bell so you know when the next episode is live. This has been the O Wrestling Podcast. I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. I hope you're enjoying the show because I'm enjoying making it. Thanks again. I'm your friend.
I'm your friend, but if I ever see you in the ring, I can beat you. Don't you know? Yeah, yeah, yeah.